Welcome back to Diecast Resurrection. Today we are going to work on a charger. Check this thing out. This is the El Cheapo Hot Wheels charger, plastic base, ugly wheels, but a pretty decent casting. So I'd like to soup one of these up today. I bought a bunch of these at Walmart the other day and I thought, we haven't done a real charger on the show yet, so let's go ahead and pimp one of these bad boys out. So I got a big motor that we're going to stuff in here, and I think it's going to be a real fun project, so let's get going. Come on, baby. There we go. Pimp. I know you guys have been waiting for a 1/18 scale project, but I don't have enough of this aggressive stripper to do it. So I'm going to have to try to get some on order. I haven't done any fact checking either. A few of you guys were saying already that they are banning this style of stripper, possibly just in the US, so I got to have a look and see, because without this, I don't think I'll get all the paint off a 1/18 scale. So I'm a little bit worried about it. We'll see. We'll see what happens though. This stuff works amazing, but it's super toxic, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. I'm afraid the juice at the bottom of my stripper there just isn't quite doing it. We're down to the bottom of the can of that stripper, but I'm going to give this a wire brush and we will see if I can get this cleaned up, and I'll be right back. So I ended up having to use my backup stripper and it still barely got the job done. That's okay though. It's going to be some time between now and when we paint where I'll be back and forth making sure everything is nice and neat on this casting. So I've got this big old motor and header package I want to put in this charger. So we are going to be cutting the hood, but rather than removing the hood completely, I think we're going to do a nice little hole that's tailor-made for this engine. And we got these big headers coming out the bottom. I would like to have coming out the sides of this charger, kind of like a Redline, a little bit on each side, kind of like that. So that's the plan, Stan, but for now I'm just going to find center on my hood. I'll drill a hole and then I'll start kind of opening it up, more than likely with files in my Dremel, just so we can get that motor in there and we'll have a look at it. How big is our engine? Would be somewhere in there. I think would look good. I'm going to use a little cutoff wheel and I'm just going to flatten out our hood a little bit so that I can get a nice center mark on there and get it drilled. Let me move my coffee. Protect the coffee. It's going to be kind of like a Roger Dodger, just on the older body style. I'll just drill a nice little pilot hole for our large bit. Way quicker to use drill bits than it is going to be to just try to grind that out with a Dremel. And even go larger if I have it. Let's see here. Yeah. I wouldn't normally hold it like this. I'm just doing it for the shot. Be much better if this is just planted straight on an old piece of wood or something, but I'm doing this just so I can film it. So that's a good start. I could even go one size larger maybe, but I'll probably stop there for now with the drill and just start working on it with some files. So I did cheat a little bit and I used my smallest Dremel cutting disc that I had, just to try to remove as much material as I could to make my filing easier. So I got quite a ways to go on the nose here still, but there's a post right underneath my blue mark, so I'm going to be battling kind of half of the post for a bit. It'd be nice to just have a bit I could plug into the Dremel to do this. Maybe a carbide burr bit would be good. I don't have one that's small enough. Just got to get a little bit more out of this nose here, and then I think we'll be good to go. I'll probably put a little diamond burr in and just kind of clean up my edges, make sure it looks like a nice factory hole. And then we're going to move to the side. I'm going to do little mini cutouts down here for the fenders on both sides, and we'll try to fit those into the body nicely. It'll probably be half into the body, half into the base. Should look pretty pimp when we're done, and then we'll just have to figure out a cool paint job. Sweet, we got a little room to spare. So I'm going to be able to clean up this hole a little bit, make it a little bit more presentable, probably do a little bit of sanding. But the next step will be getting these headers going in here. So it's a couple things that are pretty crusty on this casting. This nose is pretty bad, and this tail, you can tell there's a big bump on the back and a big bump on the front. So I want to try to correct those. There, that's a lot better. The big bump is gone. The little casting mark is gone. Just kind of doing that nice little whoop. Already did this side. Already fixed the front on this side. Now it's just this mess left. It sticks out far. Like you can't... Like when you can hook it. That's pretty dirty casting. Now we're starting to look legit. Yes. So I think those are gonna fit in there just fine. I love the way they stick out a little bit. The trick is going to be tying in the motor and the headers and everything with the interior, but it shouldn't be too bad. But so the majority of the bodywork is done. I'm going to clean up these little cutouts a little bit. I've fixed up a lot of the casting issues with this tail. And then I started removing some of these more subtle casting marks that tie in the roof to the body. This is probably one of the sexiest lines on this car, is right in here where these quarter panels get all nice and wide right here. It's kind of an erogenous zone up here, so we want to make sure that this is looking as good as possible. Even where I'm sanding, you can see big dirty casting line here. This one goes around the fuel cap. It's not too bad, but that's a kind of nasty one. So I'm going to clean that up before I go any further. So I finished mocking up my interior. This is the original interior. I cut most of the body off of the engine and just mounted it on the front of the original interior. And then the headers I trimmed away. The majority of the chrome interior. And I cut out a spot in the bottom of my original interior and just kind of put it in there. So this is what we ended up with. Beauty thing about this is it drops straight into my factory base. Like it was meant to be. And then all I have to do is trim away a little area for the headers to clear on the factory base. And boom. Everything fits. And we lost a little teeny bit of the writing to make clearance for those headers, but that's no big deal. I mean, that looks sweet the way it is. Pimp. I'm very pleased with that. All we'd have to do is slap on a couple sets of wheels and we'd be ready to go. So I think I'm ready to go to the paint booth with this thing. Now that we're mocked up sufficiently, I think that turned out really cool. Sometimes you just got to sit there and think about how to, solve a problem, and you'll come up with the right solution. Sometimes you don't, but so far so good. I think this one worked out really well. So I'll put this to the side, and I'll meet you in the paint booth. Okay, so I did our primer coat. I've decided we're going to try a new color. This is the last color of the Candy 2.0 set I haven't tried. It's called Ultraviolet. It's going to be kind of a blue. A pretty nice blue, but I don't think it's got much purple in it. I think it's just a bright blue. We're going to first paint the car gloss black, and then we're going to do a coat of silver below our blue, and that's going to give our paint a lot of depth. Now we got to do a silver layer, but we want to leave it a little bit transparent so you can just see the black coming through like a chrome. I'm probably going to do a fairly light coat. I don't want it to be too dark. We'll see how it goes here. And it's pretty blue. Pretty blue. All these colors, you know, they're designed to fit on full-size cars. So when you're looking at a hood in the sun, it's going to look different because our little car is only this big. So you might not get the whole scope of these Createx colors, but I mean, I've done some pretty cool paint jobs with these, so I like them. I'm going to stop right there. Got a real cool thing going on with this paint. It's kind of iridescent, a little bit purple, a little bit blue. I don't want to lose that. I think that's going to be really cool. So I'm going to go with this, but we are going to add our sparkle coat before we clear here. So let me clean my brush and we'll do the sparkles. So we're going to mix up a little small batch of our Cosmic Sparkle Blue. It's just going to put a little pizzazz into our paint here. And for this we need a little bit of Balancing Clear. And then we're going to reduce that to make it sprayable. I know it's kind of weird that it's this strange texture-y color, but it goes on clear. If you put on way too much, then it might look kind of white, but it does go on clear, so don't let this the specimen cup fool you. So you can see on my glove, it shows up kind of blue. We just need a little bit of this. I made a little bit too much, actually. That doesn't look like anything to you, but it is glittered with a nice blue color. It really matches the blues that are in this ultraviolet. So I'm going to let this dry fully. I'll probably chrome our door handles, and then I'm just going to do a clear coat on this. I might try to do window trims today. I don't know. These are pretty bold. It'd be pretty beginner window trims if I needed to. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I don't know. I'll probably do it off camera though. So I am going to give this a few minutes to dry. I'll do a couple details, then I'm going to clear coat this. Alright, let's take a second to appreciate what we started with. Basic Charger 500, Hot Wheels edition. Decent. Now let's see the Diecast Resurrection edition. Oh my god. This thing is a little trophy. Let's compare paint finishes. Factory Hot Wheels enamel. Got a little bit of metallic in it. Not bad, not bad. Diecast Resurrection edition. A beautiful, sparkly little diamond. It's gorgeous. Let's get it up on a rotisserie. Well, I think this thing turned out great, considering I took two, dollar cars. One of them being the Charger 500, and the motor and stuff I got out of just a remake of a cheap Roger Dodger. Had a green windshield, nothing special, nothing you'd ever make a cool custom out of. So by putting those two cars together, we ended up with this Charger 500, Roger 500, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I think it turned out pretty sweet. I was talking about doing the chrome trim on the glass. I actually did it, and I hated it. It looked terrible, so I repainted the roof, believe it or not. A lot of you guys want me to do that, but the trim they make on these cars is so far out of scale. Most of the time it looks like crap, so the trim on the actual car is very subtle, but it looks 100 times better without it. Hell yeah, this thing is pimp. It's one of my pride and joys, this car. Anyways, that's our project. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you like this car. I think it looks amazing. I look forward to your comments. Until then, my friends, stay thirsty and keep your stick on the ice.